Hi guys, welcome to another tutorial on that. Today we're going to be talking about parameterized constructor. In our last video, we dive a bit into constructor in that I will talk about default constructor. And I said in the upcoming series, we are going to be talking more extensively on constructors in that. In this video, I'm going to explain what a parameterized constructor is, how you can create one, and how you can work with one. Stay tuned to the end of this video. What is a parameterized constructor? A parameterized constructor in that allows you to pass value while creating an object. It helps initialize instance variable with specific values at the time of object creation, making your code more dynamic and flexible. Unlike the default constructor, which does not give you the ability to initialize instant variable, which does not give you ability to initialize instant variables with specific value at the time of object creation, parameterized constructor enables you to do such, thereby making your code more dynamic. Let's look at the basic syntax for a parameterized constructor. Remember, to create a constructor, we make use of the keyword class, and then we'll give it a class name which starts with a capital letter. And then we have our open and close curly bracket. Inside our open and close curly bracket, that's where we're going to be having our constructor. Our constructor will start with the class name. So we have class name, and then it's going to take open and close bracket. You can see your constructor as an advanced function which is used to initialize variable in that when you create an object, and this is going to take parameter. So we can have parameter 1, and then we can have parameter 2, and then the open and close curly bracket where we can add constructor body. You can see your constructor as an advanced function which you use to initialize the variables of your class. One of the things you can do with your normal function is that it can take a parameter, and apart from that, you can have a code block whereby you execute such code whenever that function is called. You can do the same thing with a constructor. So the first thing is that we write the constructor name, and then we have open and close bracket which takes the parameters, and then after that we have our open and close curly bracket which takes the constructor body, which can be a block of code which you want to execute when this constructor is being called when you are instantiating an object of a class. Now let's create an example of a parameterized constructor. Remember, when we're creating our class, we create it outside the void main method. So let's remove this. I don't want to use product this time around. I want to use car as my example. So the first thing is write class, and then we give it a name, car. And then inside this place, we're going to be creating two variables, which are string, which is going to be for the brand. And then the next one is going to be the manufacturer, which is going to be integer. Now let's see how we can make use of parameterized constructor to initialize the variables of this class. So we can come down here, and then we can have car. Remember, we make use of the class name, and then open and close bracket. The first one is string. You can have string. Brand. And then the next one is the year. Int year. Now we have our open and close bracket. What we've done right now is that we've said that this car is going to be taking two parameters. It's going to take the first one, which is the brand, and then it's going to take the second one, which is the year. And after taking this, remember our definition of parameterized constructor to initialize the variables of a class. So we're just going to have this dot brand equals to the brand we're getting when we call this constructor. We can have brand here, and we have semicolon here, and then we can say this dot year equals to year. And like this, we have successfully created a parameterized constructor. And here we're getting an error, and the reason why we're getting this error is because we need to make our variables nullable. So I'm going to make this nullable, because we are not assigning any values to our variables yet. We're promising that when we initialize an object, we're promising that when we create an object, we're going to pass these parameters so that we can assign those values to the object of this class. So now let's make use of our constructor. So we can come here now. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to say car, and then we can say my car equals to, and now we can create an object. And this object is going to take two arguments. The first one is the brand, and the second one is the year. So we can come here now. Let's add the brand to it. So I can say this is Toyota, and then the year is going to be, let's make it 2023. And if we come here now, we'll print my car, and I make use of the dot. You can see we have access to the brand and to the year. Let's bring the year out, and let's run this. And now you can see we have 2023. And for the brand, let's run this. We have Toyota. Let's create another instance of car. So we can come here again, create another instance, and then we can say my car 2. And now we can create the second object, car. And now let's pass another brand to this. So we can make this Kia, and then this is going to be, let's make this 2025. Yeah. And now we can print my car 2 dot brand. And if we run this now, we have Toyota and Kia. So you can see the advantage of constructor in that it gives us ability to create an object of a class, and not just creating the object of a class, initialize instance variable with specific value at the time of object creation. So here we can see that the constructor takes parameter and assign them to the instance variables. The this keyword is used to differentiate the instance variable from the parameters. And this is how we create a parameterized constructor in that. But there's a shorter way to doing this. Instead of writing it like this, you can remove this. And then we can come here. You can say this dot. And then let's bring this. Then we can do the same thing with this. You can say this dot here. And let's remove the curly bracket. We don't need the curly bracket again for now. And let's add semicolon here. And with this, we can still achieve the same thing with what we've done the other time. This is just the shorter way of doing this. That provides a shorter way to assign parameters to instance variable. And this is how you get that done. So like this, we're still going to get the same result. So if I run it again, you can see we still have Toyota and Kia. The advantage of this is that this notation eliminates the need for the constructor body, making the code more concise. Now let's talk about parameterized constructor with default values. We can create default values for parameters using optional parameter. And let's see how we can do that. The first thing is that let's create our class and then give it a name laptop. And then this is going to take the brand, and also we're going to give it the price. Now let's create a constructor for this. Say laptop, and then open bracket, close bracket. Now to create an optional parameter, we'll make use of the square bracket, and then we can have this dot brand, and let's add comma for now, and then we can have this dot price. Let's add semicolon here. And now we're getting this error because this is not nullable. Assuming this is nullable now, you can see that the error is no longer there. But the essence of this particular tutorial is not to make this nullable, but to show you how we can add a default value to our parameters. The importance of this type of constructor is that it gives default values which prevent non-error when no argument are being passed. So instead of making this nullable, and let's remove this also, we can come here and then we can assign a default value to this brand. So let's just put unknown for now. And then we can come here also for the price. We're just going to assign 0 to this. Like this, we didn't make our variables nullable. And then also by the time we're running our code, we're not going to get a null error. So how can we make use of this constructor? We can come here, we can say laptop, and then we can give it the name my laptop. And with this, we can now assign a new values to our parameter. So we'll call laptop now. I can come here and then can say this is HP, and comma for the price I can say 200. So if I print my laptop and remove this, if I print my laptop now, and I say my laptop dot, let's say brand. If I run this now, you can see I have HP. Let's say I didn't assign a price. Let's remove the price and let's print. Yeah, let's come here and then let's print my laptop dot price, and let's run this. You can see we have 0 as the value for our price because we already set a default price, which is 0. Now the only challenge with this is that I can't come in and say I want to pass an argument for the price by giving it its value and say I'm going to give this 200, and then I'm now going to remove the argument for brand. Let's remove this. Now I'm getting an error, and the reason why it's like this is because even though it's optional and it's not compulsory to pass, okay, let me remove this. Even though it's optional and it's not compulsory to pass an argument for this, it's still positional. So if I pass 200 now, this 200 is a type. Look at it. It said the argument type integer cannot be assigned to parameter type string because we already assigned that. It's okay. The first parameter we are to have on our constructor should be string. So it's now I'm now assigning like 200 to my brand, and this will automatically give me an error. So that's the disadvantage of this optional parameter. But we have a solution for this, and that is the named parameterized constructor. So we can come here now, we can remove this and we can remove this, and then instead of using square bracket, we can make use of curly bracket. And like this, what we've done is that we've successfully changed this from being an optional parameter to a named parameterized constructor. And how do we make use of this? When we create an object like this, all we simply need to do is that we pass our argument using the name of that particular parameter. So let's say for brand now, you can say brand, and then we can give it a name HP, and then we add comma. And for the price, we simply just say price, and then we can, let's say 300. And like this, our code works fine. In a situation whereby I don't have a brand name for it, I can just remove this. And then I just make use of the name of the parameter and I assign a value to it, and it works like that. So if I run this now, you can see for the first for the brand is showing unknown, which I've set as my default value, and then for the price which I assigned, I'm getting 300. So this is the advantage of using a named parameterized constructor. But in situation whereby you don't want to assign a value to it like this, and you don't want to do this, you can make use of the required keyword, saying that it's required that you pass an argument for this price, and also for the brand you can also add required keyword here, saying that it is required. So you can see I'm getting an error saying I must pass, say the name parameter brand is required, but there is no corresponding argument. Try adding the required argument. So I must come here now, I must add brand here, and let's do this, and then you can have, okay, let's remove this, and yeah, you can have HP here. Let's add comma here, and if we run this now, we're still going to get HP at 300. So these are ways we can make use of the named parameterized constructor. And another advantage of this is that when you have a lot of parameters that you're working with, and instead of having to like think of at what position is this parameter, you can just easily access it using the parameter name. So let's say I want to pass an argument for an object laptop which I've created, and let's say we have a lot of parameters here. I can just by their name pass the arguments, not necessarily having to be in the same position as I've arranged it when I was creating the constructor. So I can come here and add comma here, and then I can add this here, and this still works fine. So if I run my code now, I'm still going to get the same result. So we have HP and 300. In conclusion, parameterized constructors allows you to create dynamic and reusable classes in that, whether using positional, named, or default parameters, they simplify object initialization and make code more effective. Try using parameterized constructor in your Dart and Flutter project today. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to subscribe, drop your question in the comment section, like and share. See you in the next video.